Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spitball Cinema, Season 2, Episode Duh. We're back. We have a special guest star.
What the hell did you say? Episode duh?
It's French.
They don't say
Do.
duh for two.
Of course they do.
Duh. No, it's not duh. It's
Go
just say
and
this
read
is English.
Go read a French
two.
book or something. Get some culture.
Part two.
Oh my God.
You know what? I've often thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
This is
hear it.
part duh.
Let's
Hi,
hear
I'm
it.
the special guest.
No. Yeah.
It's me, Peyton.
Yeah,
or
Peyton's
Frosty
in.
again.
Back,
Hi.
That's right. Back by popular demand.
Maybe.
She actually just didn't leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you like me, maybe you don't. Oh well.
Yeah.
They are
I'm
going to
here.
love you.
There you go.
Unlike this guy named Shane across from me.
Are you
And
sure
this-
it's not Scott?
And this guy named Scott next to me. I'm Dave. Thank you guys for joining us again. We are excited about this movie that we're going to talk about tonight because Peyton chose it, and it
Once
is...
again. It is It from Stephen King, the 2017 version.
Yeah.
And that would be parts 1 and 2.
Uh,
Or duh in your language.
I think we're just doing Uno. Thought we discussed that.
What you did?
I don't know.
I said I didn't care. Okay? Just we're over it now.
All right. This movie was directed by Kerry Fuckum, something Maga Jaga. He's the one who directed the first season of True Detective. I can't remember his name,
Okay.
but also he's linked with Kate Hudson. They had a child together. So his papa should be Jack Burton. Me.
Where does that relate to anything?
I don't know. That was a weird segue.
I know. I was trying to
Yeah,
figure that out myself.
Anyway, It. Stephen King.
That's right. So,
One of those novels and books that was really huge back in the day.
yes.
And also one that everyone said you couldn't really turn into a movie.
Correct.
If you remember, that was one of the big discussions with it was how do you take something like that and turn it into a film? And of course they did the TV series, which of course isn't going to capture half of what they were able to do with the movie.
Yeah.
Because the movie really...
Went there.
It went there. Yeah, where, made for TV couldn't. So, yeah, it's excellent film. And, yeah, so Peyton, what about that film made you want to discuss this?
I know a lot about the 2017 version specifically. That was like one of my favorite movies as a kid. Dare I say, still is.
Nice.
Not like Bambi or something?
No, man, she's
Bambi's
cool.
mom got shot.
Yeah, that's kind of morbid.
Oh, that's some harsh reality there.
Yeah.
We were the kids laughing when Bambi's mom got shot.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway,
No,
you were
you're
saying.
fine.
Now, did you see this in the theater? Or?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You're a cool mom.
I was really young when I saw it. Me and math don't go well together. I'm not even going to try to think of how old I was, but I know I was young. I'm going to just take a guess and say like
You're
7
so.
or
It's
8.
because you're so old now, Frosty. You're so old,
I'm
Frosty.
a little Mom.
Back when you were young.
But did you have nightmares or did
I
you
don't
just like
think so.
really lean into it?
My thing is, I've always been a horror kid. And what I learned recently, and if this is a lie, Mother, this is your fault. When I was really young, around like maybe 3, I would watch Scream. Like, that was like my favorite thing. Don't ask me why.
Well, how could this guy and it make you scared? He didn't scare me.
Which one are you talking about?
Bill Skarsgård. I didn't think he was scary.
He was great in that movie.
Dude,
You didn't think he was
No,
scary?
dude, when he would smile, it looked like he had too much Botox. He had the Joker face.
Well, look at the night. Look at the oldest
I thought
one.
the Tim Curry version was much scarier than this dude.
Really?
And he didn't have all the CGI and stuff that they put in on this guy.
Well, they have
Pennywise is doing backflips.
I hate do that stupid little grin like he just had an operation. That's just my opinion.
Scott, no one asked for your
He's
opinion.
got the Joker face.
Operation
Well,
on
he's got kind of
what?
a swollen head like you.
Well, I mean, but I don't sit there and grin like.
No, I'll tell you what, Bill Skarsgård nailed that in my opinion.
Did
I
he?
thought he
I was like, he's a good actor.
Oh yeah. Well, I think what really got me was in the opening scene. You know, of course, when when Billy's going down the Georgie, excuse me. Georgie's going down there, and when he loses loses his boat and everything else. When Pennywise is talking to him, and then freezes for a moment. It's like the shell freezes, while the monster is just inside. But he just freezes, and the only thing you see is just like the drool coming out of his mouth, and it was so creepy.
I am
how
so
he was
glad
able to just.
I'm not the only one that realized that.
Yeah.
I didn't think the movie was going to be good until I watched that scene. And once I saw that they were going there by chomping that kid's arm off.
But see, that's the problem, though. They went there. It's scarier if you leave it up to the imagination of the audience what happened
whatever.
to Georgia. It does.
Are you trying to draw a correlation to Jaws?
No, but it's the same thing. Your imagination is going to be a lot scarier than the goddamn showing it.
You want to talk about like that? As if you don't know much about the It series or like in general, like any of the It's, what is it? Why is it called It? What is it? You know it as a clown, but it's a shapeshifter.
It's a damn spider, Peyton. It's a spider.
Hey,
I could have got out a can of rays.
I said if you didn't know.
Spoilers.
If you didn't know. Keyword. Didn't know.
It's a damn spider. All they had to do is get some Raid and spray on the son of a bitch and then over.
It's not a spider. It's a space spider.
Oh, a space spider.
Get it right. But you know what I actually like?
No, he's a transsexual from Transylvania.
It wouldn't be a podcast without Dave trying to sing, which he can't.
He didn't sing in the last
I've got
one.
awards. I've got trophies and ribbons for my singing. Where's yours?
Do you?
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're at my home.
Yeah.
Come on over. I'll give you a concert for free.
Yeah, please don't.
Audience participation. Patient.
Well, I'll tell you what. You want to go the spider route, which, Pennywise, when you think about it, is like a spider trying to lure prey in.
That's
but
true.
at the same time, they actually incorporate the turtle, which is a huge aspect of a lot of Stephen King novels, was the idea that the universe is on the back of a turtle, which goes back to Native American folklore.
Yeah.
And so, like, when he goes into Georgie's room and he's got the Lego turtle, when the turtles keep popping up in the show throughout the thing, I thought that was really a neat homage to the novels, and it's a way of tying that backstory into a film where you had to cut all that backstory out because it wouldn't have made any sense.
I just thought it was a freaking turtle. I didn't know. I didn't know all that. I just thought, they put a turtle.
Well, it's because you don't read.
Well, that's true. I don't.
Especially not French.
Yeah.
Duh.
But so, what was it about Pennywise? Because, Frosty, you were talking about Pennywise and how you thought that was a very interesting character. What was it that attracted you to the character? Because if it's not something that's scaring you, it's something that you're finding at least intriguing.
I think, I don't know what younger me thought, but I think, like, Scott, don't give me that. I just say younger me.
Yeah.
As in, like, young child.
Don't listen to him. He's an old
Pennywise
fart.
used to scare me, boys.
We floated uphill both ways to school. Anyway, please carry on.
I think what it was like, as I was saying earlier, no one knows what this thing is. No one, like, the adults don't know what this is, but the kids see it. The kids, and it's not the adults. The adults don't see it at all. At least in the 2017 one. I'm not talking about the.
I don't think
chapter
the
2.
adults cared in this town.
Wait, did they know about it?
No.
There was a suppression, and that's one of the things that they don't go into. You get really offended at the beginning because there's an old woman that comes out on her porch,
and
she's
real mean.
You see Georgie next to a drain, and that was like one of the things you learned as a kid is you don't play near drains. But does she say anything? No. She turns around and goes inside. And it's later on
She
when
comes-
Ben starts talking about the history, and he goes, and Ben's like, yeah, that there's like adults die 6 times greater than national average, and kids are a lot even worse.
Mm.
And he's the one that realizes that there's some sort of a suppression where the adults don't care. Instead of all the missing children posters being posted up in like a line along the wall, it's the new posters put on top of the old one because the previous
There's
person
so
is
many
forgotten.
kids going.
And
Yeah.
there's so many, and then it's just how everybody is forgotten. And it's that suppression.
Yeah.
Because when they come back as adults in part 2,
They
they
forgot
don't
about
even
it.
remember each other. They have to
Well, okay.
there's some of them that are like, oh, I forgot about that, and they have to re-memorize the things that happened.
Wasn't that because of the trauma, though? They just blocked it out because of trauma?
No, it's because of the creature itself.
They forgot about the creature. I wouldn't necessarily say it was they forgot about each other. It was more they forgot the creature was a thing until they started seeing stuff again. And they'll be like, oh, this is what happened years ago. We remember it now, kind of sense.
Well,
In a nutshell.
yeah, but honestly, they do forget each other because when they're like, Mike who? Mike from Derry.
Oh,
Mike
yeah.
from Derry, Mike, and he has to give him his last name, and then they're like, oh,
Mike
Mike.
Hanlon, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, Mike. But it's like also at the very, very end of chapter 2, when the character's talking, he's like, hey, how, because he's writing a new book, and they're like, hey, how come I'm remembering this? How come I'm not forgetting like I did before? And he's like, well, it's because it's gone now. And so now we can remember everything. So there is a supernatural funk on that town, and they don't care. And it really, and I think Pennywise's presence brings out the worst in adult behavior.
Yeah. There is one thing, though, that I will say the only adult that seemed to really care was Mike's grandpa, Lori, I don't know his name for sure.
Yeah.
He was like, Mike full on says, like, my grandpa thinks this town is cursed. Like, there's a specific thing that, like, is making this happen.
And he tells him to get ready, doesn't he? He tells him he needs to prepare or something like that.
Yeah, he basically tells him that he
Tell him
needs
he's
to
weak.
grow up.
You say he needs to man up when he's trying to get the kid to kill the sheep, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think part of that also is the family, Mike's family in particular, although they lived in town, his grandfather lives outside of town.
Yeah.
And so I think as someone on the outside of town, away from that influence, you see it and you recognize it and you warn the others. So it's really
creepy as hell. Because if you think about it,
dynamic.
growing up in a town and knowing that no adult's going to give a crap or even be able to help you.
I think.
I mean,
well, they probably think one less mouth to feed.
Well, I think what it was like they didn't know about the creature. I think that's what it was because it's
or
like.
did they, and they just chose to ignore it?
Well, if that's the case, like if you leave Derry, you forget about it. Mike was the only one that remembered.
Yeah, but I mean the adults that are in the town.
Yeah. What I'm saying is though, like what I was trying to say earlier was like the adults didn't see anything. Because, for example, the one scene with Beverly when the blood's all over the bathroom, he doesn't see it. The dad doesn't see it. So I think it targets more kids, if anything, because kids are more weaker than adults, even if he is a dead entity.
Yeah, but think about this. Pennywise could be affecting these adults because remember the sewer system goes all through the town. So he could be having an influence on these adults, so they're not remembering, or
That's what I'm trying to say.
They're not caring. Is that what you were saying?
I'm trying to say like they don't remember this, or like they forget, and they just like they don't see this because of it.
But I think
because
also
of Pennywise,
the kid aspect of it is that you have adults are generally more closed-minded and less likely to listen to kids.
And kids are easier to scare.
So when you're talking about Beverly, exactly, you've got that extra bit of scaring because kids are easier to scare and adults are easier to fool.
And
they don't take kids as serious.
I'll say it or Pennywise, whichever you want to call him, he feeds off fear.
Right.
So it's more easier to target like weak children than like adults that are more closed-minded and stuff like that.
You know why that is? Because he's a freaking spider, Peyton. He's a spider. That's why he's weaving his web Because basically, he's a spider.
Ooh, in the sewers.
I want to say the thing that I kind of
In
like.
France.
And that's what the sewer system.
Why are we talking about France?
That's what
I
the,
do not know.
that's
I'm
what
sorry.
the sewer system is. It's his little web.
But that's a good analogy, even though. I mean,
I think about that now, and you say that. The one thing that I remember is that there's that huge tower of kids just floating. That is kind of like a spider web.
Yeah,
Like-
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And they're like flies. And,
That was
and-
creepy.
And when you think about it, the well where where he actually crashed, a million years ago, however long they were talking about, that location is the well. That's where that well is. That's basically the center of your web, and it branches out from there.
Mhm.
So spider's not wrong.
Right.
It's really not, and it's a really good analogy, and from a story perspective, it's an interesting take on how to write a evil character.
Wonder why he picked that, Stephen King. I often wonder why he chose that that to be the villain.
Well, look at The Shining.
Hmm.
I mean,
Was it Shiny's not a spider, is it?
no, I'm not saying that. But like,
I'm talking spiders here.
yeah, I know. But you're
You know.
saying like,
Well, I'm
Let
not-
her
what-
I
explain.
wonder why he made this type of character. For example, I'm bringing up The Shining just because it's one of Stephen King's things. He made a character like the guy, I forget his name.
Jack Torrance.
Yeah, sure. They go to the motel, and the guy basically starts going insane.
Right.
Yet later on, they find out, like, with an old picture that was, like, from the 30s or whatever, or however old, that he was in it. So it was essentially like he was some sort of ghost. Where do you make up something like that?
Well, I know, but that's apples and oranges here. Because we're talking about spiders and not The Shining. We're not talking The Shining.
You are saying...
I'm just wondering why Stephen King, why he chose...
Yeah, and that's my point,
chose
though.
the spider.
Well, here's two.
Yeah, but you started talking about The Shining and the
Yeah,
character
but I'm
thing.
saying-
No, it
You're
was
slow.
the same
Yeah,
type of character. It's just-
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You've got people who are terrified of spiders,
You
right?
got people who are terrified of clowns.
And you got people who are terrified of clowns.
Well, that's
Those
true.
are two things that a lot of people find disturbing or
Very true.
or unnerving.
Okay.
So if you're going to set something up, what's scarier than a trapdoor spider that looks like a clown?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
we've already got
probably-
like
that's
alien,
probably the best-
alien clowns.
It's probably
we got
the
that.
best analogy I've ever heard on describing why that he chose that.
Did you know that Black Phone was set in Colorado? And
And so was The Shining.
The Shining was in Colorado.
You know what? It's almost like he's a spider and he's weaving his web.
Weaving the web. But yeah, no, it is really good. The dynamic between the kids is really good.
They were
it
all
is
good.
sad that I mean, they're the losers club, and they come together to find common ground and all that. But I mean, it really is sad that that is one messed up town. They all had absolutely horrible childhoods. I mean, every single last one of them.
I mean, I don't
It
even.
was crazy bad.
I think the only one, that, like, even in the books they say this, the only one that I feel like that was actually just, like, insane and didn't have any problems that I know of, I have not read the books, but I've heard some things about the books, would have been Patrick. The Bowers gang.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick,
yeah.
what was his last name? Oh, God, what was his last name? I don't know his last name.
Hostetler or
Something like that, yeah.
That's the one that was driving the car that was the ghost after he got killed?
Well, that's Hofstadter, yeah.
That's
I think,
Hofstadter.
He was the one. I think he was like one of the first like victim deaths besides Georgie that was shown. Yeah.
Yeah, the kid with the flaming.
Right.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
flame
but
looking for
Yeah. Penny.
that one kid. Yeah,
Bowers.
Ben.
Yeah, look
Yeah,
at
but
Ben.
one that I really sympathize with. If you're speaking of having bad childhood, you wonder why Henry was the way he was. Look at his father, being a chief of police and being how he was. Do you guys not know what I'm talking about?
Who the hell's Henry?
Henry Bauer? The Bowers
Oh,
gang?
Bauer,
The one with
okay.
the knife.
Oh, yeah, Bauer.
Yeah, look at his
But
father.
don't call him Henry like your best friend. Just call him Bauer, okay?
Okay, Mr. Bauer, go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know if I go so far as Mr. Bauer.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'd
I'm
like
joking.
to apologize for any kind of slight hint of child abuse by Scott.
Nobody is suggesting child abuse.
Oh my God!
You know, the only one's going to get abused is you if you quit interrupting the damn thing.
We're all interrupting each other.
What were you whispering in there for?
Nothing. I wasn't saying anything. Go
Yeah,
ahead
yes,
with the
you were.
Bowers.
Anyway, Frosty, take it away on the juvenile delinquent.
Yeah, so many people see Henry as like the big bad guy, but it's like, look at his family life. I mean, you have a horrible dad. I mean, no excuse. I mean, yeah, he's an alcoholic, but he full on like shoots a gun towards Henry, and it's like, look at him now, boys, all frightened when Henry's just like covering, scared half to death.
I don't even remember that part.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, calls him, gives what a paper man looks like, you know, and he basically humiliates his son in front of
His friends, yeah.
friends.
And I think that was like not long after. Like, that gives him a good advantage.
Was he outside when he did that?
Yeah, because
He
they
was-
were
he was-
shooting obstacles and stuff.
Oh,
and they were about to
they
shoot
were
cats.
shooting the gun. That's
Yeah.
right. He was
Oh,
shooting the gun. He was
okay.
the
Yeah.
cop.
But I think once you see that, that's when Pennywise starts targeting for Henry. Because that makes him more of an influence. Kind of. Because if he's vulnerable like that towards his father, that's like, he's the first guy he kills. Henry kills his dad. Because Pennywise influences it. He's like, kill them all, in
Right,
the TV.
right.
So it's like, they all
yeah.
aim Henry to be the bad guy. I more blame the dad. Because it's like, he was an awful guy. And
in a lot of Stephen King stories, there is the bad guy, and then there's the person being influenced by the evil. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And if you think about the analogy between the kids and the adults, you got the teenagers, and
Yeah.
those are the ones that are kind of that in between adulthood and childhood. And so when you got someone who's disturbed like that, Pennywise has that influence where he can start taking that psychotic kind of thought process that the kid already has and just nudges him in that direction. Because remember, the reason he really does anything is because he gets his knife in the mailbox. Pennywise basically, it's like mailed to him.
yeah, and there was like the red
Loses it.
balloon, yeah.
She loses it chasing Ben,
Yeah.
and he gets the red balloon, gets that knife, you know, and then it's just like, oh, here's your knife. This is your weapon. This is how you stand up for yourself.
Kind of like a puppet.
Yeah,
And I think-
so he just basically turned him to the dark side.
Yeah, and I think one reason
Do it.
that
Do it. Yeah.
Pennywise immediately took out Patrick's insane. He's insane in the books. He's insane in the movies. Like, I mean, if it's to the point you go at a kid with a flamethrower, like imagine like, it's technically a flamethrower when it's like you have the match and then the hairspray and you're spraying it. It's like, he was already insane to begin with. It's not like he's immediately gonna come and help Pennywise. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's not a useful.
He's
tool.
not like
Yeah.
very vulnerable at all.
Yeah.
So immediately he takes him out. Because the biggest thing is Pennywise, I'm pretty sure, wanted vulnerable ones to where it'd be like, they're my food, they're my, whatnot. That. He's trying to kill the kids, basically.
Right.
You take out the ones that are strong first, and you have the vulnerable ones to defend for themselves. Or, quote unquote, defend, like, weakling ones, because he gets
The
owned in
losers.
the end.
Yeah, the losers
Well,
left.
also because Pennywise takes Bowers, basically brings him under his influence.
Yeah.
And where the kids were starting to resist, they were banding together, they were fighting him. He can't fight that way. That's not how Pennywise operates.
Yeah.
So
no.
he has to have that person, his right-hand person, to go do the blunt trauma, damage to these people. So like when he's an adult and then when the adults come back, that's why he makes sure that he gets his knife again, makes sure that he gets out of the psycho ward and is able to go and
Which
attack.
when he's talking about
attack
the
them.
psycho ward, he's
Yeah.
talking about chapter 2, by the way.
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry. I try to talk to the adults. It's really the story of the kids and the adults. Because there is that 27-year time gap. That's kind of one of the things that they talk about. It's almost like a cicada where he goes to sleep for a while, then he comes back and feeds, and it's that cyclical thing that's been going on throughout history in this area.
Right.
So, but yeah, so it's just that influence that he has over Bowers in order to try to fight against the kids.
And there was a deleted scene. Now, I have no idea if this is in the books or not, but there was a deleted scene where like shows Bauer, because you know, like when they first go into the old house and then Mike like gets attacked by Bowers. The deleted scene was Bowers watching them with the remaining parts of his gang dead in the back. So I think like he influenced him to the point he went insane, technically.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Like he kills off the useless ones. I feel like the only one he would have kept was Patrick, but you know he's already dead at this point. So he's like stalking the kids on his own with his crew in the back, which I feel like they really should have kept that scene because it's disturbing. And like they're massacred in the back. There's blood everywhere.
Yeah,
and it's
if you remember, one of the guys in his group, every time Bowers like, "Give me my knife," and he gives him this look like, "What are you doing?" You know, there's like the one kid.
Guy.
Yeah, the blonde guy in the back. I think he had like a white shirt or something. But he was always in the background, just looking at him like, "Dude, are you really going to go there?
Like
are you really going to do this?"
He was almost scared to challenge.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
Everyone was scared of Henry.
Yeah, I think that would have been a good scene to leave in. If you're going to have a movie that long, I think him turning on his... Oh, there you go.
Victor was the blonde kid's name.
So I think if you would have left that scene in, I think it would have been.
It also would make more sense as to why Henry randomly shows up.
Right, and where did they go? You know, because they do disappear for the rest of the story.
And yeah, it's like his whole gang's gone after that.
Yeah.
And Henry supposedly dies, but he comes back, obviously just really injured. But it's like you only see Bowers again. You don't see his group, and it's like they're never talked about again. They're not brought up in the second movie. No, nothing. Yeah. So it's like it would make sense. I don't know why they cut it out, but you know, I just found that scene like.
It may be one of those things where they just realized that they probably got the point.
Time.
Well, probably part of it is time because they are long movies.
Yeah.
And they probably had already made the point that Bowers was over the edge anyway, so I think it was just maybe too fine of a point on it. Or just overkill.
Speaking on like...
Overkill on the slaughter of the crew.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Speaking on like villain type things, people say like, oh, either Henry or Pennywise is like the main villains. Really? You could name off quite a few people that are quote-unquote villains. I mean, look at Beverly's dad. If you remember him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Al Marsh was
super creepy.
Very guy. Yeah.
All of the parents were
a little
not
different.
Good people. Little different. But even down to the girl that was bullying...
he was a creep.
What's her name? But yeah, he was a Beverly,
creep.
The creepy pharmaceutical guy. But then it was his daughter that was bullying her, and even his daughter was awful. You know.
My thing is, why would you go around and tell your kid that's like a huge bully, even if you don't know it? Why would you tell like them about the medical thing? Because there was one scene with Eddie where it was like,
well, they didn't have HIPAA back then.
Well,
but like,
this is the thing though with Bev's dad and with all these, again, could have been influenced by Pennywise.
Oh no, definitely.
No, definitely was. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
You can't really say there's a lot of different villains because Pennywise is the one who's weaving this web.
But my thing is, I think Al was always a little different because it was like he was so weird with his daughter because he was like, "You look just like your mom."
But don't you think that was
in a very like?
But don't you think that was But don't you think that was Pennywise doing that though?
Oh yeah.
You gotta think that Pennywise was. I'm pretty sure this was even before Pennywise. They knew of Pennywise.
Why do you think?
Because this was way earlier on in the movie. I'm pretty sure that this happened where he was like, "You look just like your mother."
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Pennywise is already there, so he's influenced in this whole thing with everybody that. Everybody even in that town is affected by this damn spider.
Yeah, and the way I kind of look at it is...
It's like venom. Like he's putting venom into the whole town.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think a good way to look at it is that I think, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, I think what he does is he just brings out the worst traits in people. So, like, you see the worst of the adults. And I think that's the influence, is that their better nature dissipates and their worst natures take over, whatever form that takes. Whether it's like a Munchausen system, with the one kid and his mom's giving him the the gazebos instead of the the placebos and stuff, just to make him a hypochondriac, so that she has someone who has to depend on her. That's just that hyper. It's basically just the bad traits, and it just brings them out and makes that their overall character.
I'm pretty sure they said the mom had something wrong with her. Like, there was something mentally wrong. I forget what they said it was, but, like, it made it to where, like, she was very possessive over Eddie.
Yeah, and that's the
like
thing with all the adult
something.
characters had
Something
negative influence on their own kids.
I think the only one that you could say was half normal was Billy's parents. They were grieving over Georgie, and Bill wouldn't stop bringing up Georgie, saying like, well, this could have happened to him, like making that whole sewer system, and the dad just snaps, being like, he's dead, leave it, let it go, yada yada. Like, he's been dead for, I think, maybe about a year now, I don't really remember, or like a couple months. But it's like, I think...
because they were still potentially looking for the body. And so...
Yeah, something like, I don't know when
exactly. To me, that's part of that. That's the influence of Pennywise forcing people to forget and not care. So that's that why won't you forget, because we're trying to. That kind of a reaction. So where his parents were probably the most normal, and they were sad, and you could tell.
They grieving.
At the same time, didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah. And I think I don't think that was like the first time Bill had actually brought it up either. So it'd be like a constant
but
thing.
They didn't want to help him through his trauma.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't.
So do you think Pennywise, when he was gone for 27 years, didn't have any more influence on the town, so it comes back? Or it
still has the same influence. It's just, I think it's more heightened.
More, okay.
Yeah. Like, very much, like they said in the movie, like a cicada. It's like a... it's like a cycle.
Like a nature, like a force of nature, or a storm that comes in.
Can I go off topic just for a quick moment?
Hey, why not? We do it all the time.
In the last episode, we were talking about Black Phone. Who asked if it was in Dairy Maine? Was it you?
Oh, that was me. Because
okay, you want to know something that's theorized? Pet Sematary was in Dairy Maine. It was shown in the movies.
Yeah.
A lot of people think like that monster that's bringing back people from the dead was Pennywise. Because it's in Dairy Maine, it has that. You're dealing with Pennywise. In, like, it, why would it not be that monster?
Yeah, and that actually
that's just a theory, though.
Yeah,
that was just what...
It's an overall arcing thing with Stephen King films, I say films, but it's really novels.
Well, didn't they do a show about that? They mixed all of his stories and movies together. It was on Amazon.
They kind of did a series or something loosely based on that, because The Stand and... the Dark Tower.
What was that movie company that had the lighthouse?
Lighthouse film?
No, it was Castle Rock.
Castle Rock. That's what the name of the show was called, Castle Rock.
Yeah. So there is like this overarching kind of evil in all of the stories, and it goes from all of his different novels, and they always take a different kind of name or form. But yeah, Pennywise is considered kind of one of those evil-based characters. So.
Well, what can I bring up? What did you guys think was the creepiest scene in the movie? I'll go. I think it was the library scene with the fat kid and the balloon.
Ben.
Oh, wow, that was creepy.
What do you think the scariest scene was? At least in part one.
Yeah,
part one. Okay. I'm gonna probably either have to go with the Stanley with like the picture, that woman. She was terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Or
it was almost like the screamer is the
kind of like with those long teeth, yeah. Which I think another part was like when she shows up and bites Stanley. Yeah. I don't remember where, but like I think it was like his ear or something.
She's like sucking on his face.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes. Or I'm gonna have to go with like Eddie and that zombie-like thing. Like when he drops all his pills and he's scrambling to get it, and then you just see that one person just lifting it up, and you see it.
Yeah, that kind of plague.
Yeah, but I don't know what that was. Yeah. I will agree with you though. The library one is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
For me, I think the scariest one was when they're they've got the slideshow and they're doing the slide.
Oh, I
system
forgot
over
about that.
Oh my god.
And then Pennywise kind of takes over the slideshow, and he starts popping up, and then he comes out of the screen itself, because that's the first time they started talking about there's a clown, and everyone's like, yeah, a clown. I saw a clown too, but it's the first time that they're together, and Pennywise comes out and reveals himself.
I forgot
tries
about
to break
that
up that
scene.
group.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Because
Yeah, it's a
they
really
have a
good one.
person that's kind of dressed like him a little bit.
Well,
and then the parents
It's
just
it's
change.
the mom.
mom.
It's
Yeah.
the mom.
Oh,
It's-
that's right.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Because it was like old slideshows of like Bill's family, like when Georgie was still alive.
Mm-hmm. And all you
Oh,
saw
I
was
saw
the
that
hair in
one.
front of the face, and then eventually you see Pennywise, and then kind of zooms in. It was just a well done scene.
It is.
And the special effects are so good, which is one of the things that you really got to appreciate in this film. Is the special effects are spot on. They are well executed. But when he comes out of that film and comes at him, it looked almost 3-dimensional. I mean,
It kind of, yeah, it did.
was for being a 2-dimensional film. It pops, and you're just like, whoa. So for me, that was one of my scariest scenes.
Also,
I
once
like that
once
one.
Scott says his thing, I just did think about another scene, unless he says it.
No, the scariest thing with me is when little fatty kept talking about January Ambers and wrote that poem. That was the scariest shit to me.
Is it because someone wrote that same poem to you?
No, but he was just so creepy, that little sucker talking, "Oh, your hair is like January Ambers," or whatever he said. I was just like, ugh. He was creepier than Pennywise.
You're an odd thinker. I bet you know that.
What was the other scene you thought of?
I was thinking the one when Bill goes downstairs and sees Georgie.
Oh.
Where it's like,
Yeah, that
you'll
was a
float
good
too,
one.
you'll float too. Like that, and then Pennywise at the end is like, you'll float too, and brings the body down, and he starts charging towards
Oh,
Bill.
man.
They're all
And then
in
once
there.
Bill goes upstairs, he's like leaning against the side, and then he just slowly moves away, like slides
Or
away.
when they're in their tidy whities, that was pretty scary too. I didn't want to see all that crap. Yeah. And nobody wants to see little fatty writing a poem in his tidy whities, you know? No. Hell no. That was the scariest shit I've
Why
ever
are
seen
we
on
talk-
film.
Why'd I
I'm just-
pick this?
I'm just-
I
I'm
knew
just-
you were gonna make fun of it.
At least they weren't wearing underoos. You know, that would have been bad too.
What?
Well,
So then we
but
stopped
you know
talking
what?
about underwear.
That was actually no, but that was a very
That-
that was a scary scene.
Yeah, I just now remembered that one. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
not yours, Scott. No
Oh.
one cares
Oh, I
about
thought you were talking about
yours.
that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, but so the first half of the movie, and this is one of the things when the movie came out and they were doing the part 1 and they were doing the part 2, and they had the adult characters, which honestly I thought a lot of the actors in that, number one, the casting was excellent.
In,
Yeah.
in the second
In
one?
the second one, and the fact that they were able to capture the mannerisms
Can I do a
of
fun fact?
of the child actors was excellent.
Can I do
too.
a fun fact?
Of course.
The kids actually picked their actors.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
that was the cool
Oh,
thing
wow.
about it.
Wow.
Eddie's actor looked exactly like his, and the adult actor, I don't know his name. His brother full on said he watched it in theater. He was like, that looks a lot like the adult actor,
Wow.
and which creeped him out. Let me look at this.
You know,
But yeah, but they do, and the thing is that a lot of people were like, the second movie's not as good. Well, it's because number one, everyone had seen the first one. They knew all the jump scares,
Right.
You know, so some of the scarier scenes didn't have the same impact as the first movie did.
and
but
kids
when
are
you-
always more animated too when they're
Oh yeah,
doing their thing, you know, than adults. Adults
Yeah.
are more.
I like
But-
the
but
kids
when
scenes
you-
more than the adult scenes in part 2. I thought
yeah. Well, the kids knock it out of the park. I mean, they really
big
do.
time.
And they're the ones that you really empathize with the most because you're not as concerned about the outcome of an adult
Yeah.
in any situation
Right.
like that. So I think it had a little bit of a knock against it on that. But when you watch the movies back to back, excellent.
The actor's name is James Ransom for Eddie.
Okay.
Okay. I got a question about the second film.
Mhm.
At the very beginning, when you had the two gay guys
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
walking down, and they get attacked by those guys, you know, and the guy says, he's from Derry, you know, and the guy has an inhaler I thought that was Eddie at first. Because Eddie always
because
had
of the inhaler.
Yeah, but it was very misleading. I thought, okay, Eddie's come back to town. He's with his boyfriend. They get the hell beat out of him. And then Pennywise steals his boyfriend and takes a bite out of him. But it really threw me off for a while because I thought that was Eddie until...
I think that was the point. If I had to
think
guess,
they-
I think that's what it was supposed to be doing. But I could be wrong.
Kind of a cool
Yeah.
distraction.
That would be cool if that's what it was.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought at first it was one of the kids.
I don't remember what the actor
Yeah,
looked
I didn't-
like, so I don't know.
I guess because I was going into it already knowing who the different actors were, I didn't make that association. But if I was going in blind, I could definitely see how that would make you worry about that.
Well,
character.
yeah, I thought, okay, they're going to have Eddie die instead of Stan. In this one, that's what I thought.
Well-
Especially when they show the inhaler, it was very misleading.
I think it's foreshadowing, actually.
Foreshadowing that Eddie's going to get killed.
Because he did.
Well, yeah, I know.
So it could... Yeah, but yeah, I know you know.
I know.
But why are you saying like that he was going to get killed? As in like a question.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm just stating a point, but you said it like that.
No,
that's
what I'm
why.
saying is what I'm saying.
But I was saying what you were saying, and she was saying what her mom was saying.
I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah.
That would have
Well,
been
the one thing that actually
that
is
would have been the
making me
funnier.
wonder
That
is
would have
which
been
one is the more mature between the two of them.
that one would have been the scarier clown to have Pee Wee Herman as it. That would have been
Pee Wee
great.
Herman versus
Yeah.
Pennywise.
Pennywise.
But you gotta slow down here, Georgie.
He'd be looking for his bike, just like those one kids were. And
There you go. Well, you know what I always found kind of interesting is because in the novel the monsters that Pennywise
don't tell me you
assumes-
read the book.
long time
I've
ago.
read a little
Really?
bit.
Yeah,
It's
a long
a
time
thick
ago.
book.
But it was really the universal monsters. That's what they saw. They saw the Wolfman. They saw
Right.
Frankenstein. They saw the Mummy.
But
and that to me that was really cool at the very end when they're getting Pennywise to change his shape by calling him different names. The one fellow that stayed in Derry. I don't know why I'm blanking on his
That's
name.
what?
The one who stayed.
Stayed Mike.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah, Mike's like, you're a mummy. And it would switch over to that universal mummy.
Mm.
He would take that shape. And then they'd call him
Not the
something
Tom
else.
Cruise mummy, right?
And thank God, no. No,
They didn't say
the
Dracula,
actual-
though.
No, but they did mention the mummy, which I thought was kind of a neat reference to the book. Kind of like I was saying, they throw the turtle reference.
Yeah, but didn't they
and
have like
some-
some mummy, like zombie type things throughout the?
Yeah, but it was like Universal Mummy.
Oh yeah, but how come they didn't have a Universal Dracula or Frankenstein?
Well, it's a Warner Brother movie.
Yeah, and they just
Oh.
did Mummy.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay.
So, it's just an Easter egg. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
I
put
kind
too
of
much
find it
into
interesting on how different the movies are to the book. I know a little bit about the book. I don't know.
The book is way more graphic.
It's way more
Well,
graphic. for sure.
the books are always more detail oriented.
That's
Yeah.
true.
More. I mean,
Or sometimes it's complete opposite.
and
if
they
that's
have
more
to
defined.
cut. They
Yeah.
have to cut some stuff out of the book just to make the movie itself.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. And to me, it was interesting that Stephen King actually liked this version. He liked some of the changes. He liked the way that they.
He liked it because he
handled
was in it.
Well,
Well, that's
trust
chapter
me.
two.
That,
Was he
that's-
in
that- that's,
He was in chapter 2. He was the
yeah,
one that
they're
had
stroking his
Bill's
ego.
bike.
He had the antique shop.
Yeah.
Okay. That was
But,
kind of cool. It was kind of funny.
No, it was.
And that
It was a neat
stupid
little
joke.
cameo.
At first, I thought it was Bruce Dern.
Oh,
When he
God.
first started,
Oh,
when he
God.
first started talking, I thought, "Damn!" I said, "Oh, damn, that's Stephen King."
But yeah. So it's I don't know. It's just a very.
And then they have
good,
that stupid joke where like the ending sucked. That was such an overused joke.
yeah.
Such an overused joke.
Well, it was,
I mean, I get it, but did it have to
that's
be that
right.
many
I mean,
times?
he's
Little
referring
on
to
the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first couple times were funny, but if you say it throughout the entire film,
Hey, Peyton, Frosty, I should say. It's Stephen King. He
Yes,
wrote
I
the
know.
thing.
I know.
He can make it that way.
I know.
Well, but there's a lot of times where you can have a movie, or you write a novel and you don't.
Wait, you got a
like what they
clown
do with
shirt
it.
on. I just noticed this.
Yeah.
ICP.
Yeah.
yeah, Insane Clown Posse.
We're juggalos, baby.
I thought it was it looking at me. Oh, I got
No.
a story to tell you guys real quick too. It's referring to it.
Oh.
So I hadn't seen this in a while because I'd only seen it one time. So I was at work on post in my vehicle watching it, right? And I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I look over like this and I'm by a storm drain. Right there. I looked, and I looked back to front, and I looked again, and I kept I thought, ooh, this is weird. I had to pull away.
Actually, when the movie came out,
Don't ever make fun of me being scared of Michael
Hey,
Jackson again.
Stupid clown.
I was driving along, and when the 2017 movie came out, someone had actually taken a red balloon like next to the storm drain, and they had like it hanging there like out of the sewer, and I was laughing so hard. I was like, "That's awesome." So I mean,
Anyway.
that's a good one.
Do you think we should go a little bit more, just because we haven't? We've mainly just talked about it and Pennywise and. Do you think we should talk a little bit more about like the main cast, the main kids, a little bit?
I don't think so. I think the kids were just awful.
Yeah, especially Fatty.
Yeah.
I mean,
What? No, he's my favorite character.
No. Actually, the kids were great, and they did.
I was
they
about
did an
to
excellent
go a little.
Oh no!
Not
You got
offended,
some.
but-
You got some really good actors there.
Frosty, which one did you have a crush on? Is that what it is?
Honestly, neither.
Okay, then why do we got to talk about the stupid little kids? We already talked about them.
No, we didn't.
We talked about them
We
here and
talked-
there.
we-
Their character.
Yeah, but they're the main cast. We talk about the villain. We talked about the Bowers gang, and some
You
of
can't
the
say
adult.
really they're the main cast because there's different characters.
The main cast
They're
would be
same-
the Losers Club.
Yeah, but there's adult losers and there's young losers. They're still the
We
same
talked
character.
about a
Which one do you
little bit.
identify?
I'm always at it.
All right, who is your favorite character of the Losers Club?
Down far, Richie. Has to be. My thing is the only unrealistic thing about that movie is that no one was laughing at his jokes. Some of his jokes, you gotta admit, were a little funny. Especially for the time period.
Yeah. I'm just trying. Yeah, definitely. Who was the fat kid's name?
Ben.
Ben. I like Ben. That was my favorite.
Actually, I like Bev, and I think number one, that particular actress is really good. I've seen her in
She
a
is
couple different
good.
things. And
The kid or
she-
the adult version?
well, we were talking about the kids, so yeah,
Oh,
the,
okay.
the child actress, and it was for me. I thought she did a great job because she was able to manipulate adults. You know, she was like old enough to know what she was doing,
Yeah.
and at the same time, she it's that acting where the father is evidently creepy as all get out, but the way that she plays it so that it doesn't have to be too obvious. And you can tell by her body language around him, the way that she moved, the way that she reacted to his presence. Really good. And to be able to channel that kind of acting ability at that age with something like that, I thought was really well done. So yeah, I thought it was great. And then when they actually make a Molly Ringwald joke about her,
I was about to say that.
I
once you
lost
were
it.
done.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I was
absolutely
gonna say,
hilarious.
how did no one-
Like, who let Molly Ringwald into the group? And I just started laughing.
And
I
then
was
Beverly
like,
just
"That's
flips
the
him
best."
off.
Yeah, she's like, it was. But yeah, it was. That was a funny scene because really, honestly, she had that whole Molly.
I was
Ringwald
like,
thing
even
going,
like
so.
the adult actor of Richie, I love. Like, he's even funny. Then he was like for one of them, like when they're sitting at the restaurant, the Chinese restaurant, and they're talking about each other's lives, and then Beverly or one of them, I think it was Bill. He was like, "So what have you been up to, Richie? Have you gotten married yet?" And Beverly's like, "Richie has not gotten married." And then Richie's like, "Oh yeah, I have." It's like Beverly's like, "I don't believe it." And then Richie's like, "Oh, you haven't heard it all?" Eddie's like, "No." He's like, "You haven't?" He says, "No." And it's like, me and Eddie's mom are happily married, and everybody's just laughing. And then Richie's just not Richie. Eddie is just staring at him like, dude.
Yeah.
But
just-
that's one of those things where when the adults finally get together and they start taking on the same personalities that they had before.
They finally start laughing at his jokes.
Yeah, and they start acting like they know each other and that they got that bond. So that's really good. And that scene also in the Chinese restaurant, there's like this bug thing that comes out.
Oh, it's
one of the
disgusting.
fortune cookies got like the baby's head on it.
And then there
I
was like the
like,
eye one.
That's freaking scary.
That's disgusting. Not really more scary, it's more disgusting.
Yeah, it was just like, ooh.
All right, what was yours?
But I think favorite character.
Favorite kid character?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Probably none. If I had to guess.
Well, they're all a bunch of losers. You
How
know,
about-
You're a loser.
It's all in the name.
I don't know.
Did you like the stuttering guy?
Yeah, I did.
That's Bill.
Yeah,
Bill.
I liked Bill. Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked Georgie too. 'Cause he,
The actor, the actor is a sweet kid.
I know. I
He
just
really
liked how he
is.
was doing the creepy laugh and.
Oh yeah, it's just like straight out of Pet Cemetery.
Oh man.
Like
Yeah.
when you get the creepy little kids, like I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I want to play, and it's like, but it's that same little kid, scary little kid thing. So,
Yeah.
but those scenes with Georgie and his brother when he's like talking to Georgie and trying to apologize and stuff, but at the same time he knows that it's not really him, but it's like his only
Right.
time that he can actually express himself and try to explain himself.
Yeah, because technically speaking, the only reason why, in a sense, Georgie did die is because Bill faked being sick. So it was like, it's on his sense, I feel like he blames himself because it's like, he could have stopped it. He could have done this because, he's the older brother, supposed to be protecting the younger one, kind of like that type of role. And he dies because basically Bill's not there.
And
Because Bill would know better, obviously, but Georgie's just like a little kid. He wouldn't know.
And that's the thing too, because Pennywise focuses on the lone person. He picks them off individually, not as a group, and they're stronger when they're together as a group. But that's part of the whole character development was when he actually at the end of the movie, the adult version is just like you can't blame yourself for not wanting to go outside in the rain. It's like you don't blame yourself for that. And that's when he forgives himself. That's when he's able to kind of to deal with that trauma.
Yeah, and which I kind of like that point that they make because it's like you finally not necessarily get over it, but more like
well, you learn to deal
forgive.
with it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that character arc for really all the characters that survive till the end. So
Yeah. They did kill off
excellent
some,
movies.
I think they did kill off pretty good characters, though, you gotta admit.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Eddie, but I also liked Stanley a lot. That's your phone. Okay, that's not me to blame.
Well,
That's your
you
phone.
just grabbed my phone, is what you did.
You gave it back to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
Yeah.
my fault.
Yeah.
Did you
And,
turn
hey,
it? Did you turn it up?
You should have had your silent mode on.
Yeah, the one thing that I
Yeah.
to me, and maybe it's just a personal view of suicide, when they come back at the end of the movie with Stan, and Stan writes the letter and sends the letter off to everybody, and he's basically saying, I killed myself because I would have been the weak link, and it would have led to all of you, either
I
not
thought that-
coming together or whatever
I
else.
thought that was weak.
I didn't care for that.
I
did
didn't care
not-
for it either.
No, I did
I
not
didn't.
like that. It's like he made some sort of noble
Excuse-
sacrifice by killing himself, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, he
Well,
abandoned his
I
friends
think
when they needed him the most.
Yeah.
Well, I think one point of it is, it's like, I feel like it had something to do with that, because it was like, he didn't want to go through all that again. And I'm not saying killing himself was the right choice. Obviously not.
But he was out of Derry. I don't. How could it have an influence on him when he was gone from Derry?
Well, the
look at-
idea was it was all the trauma when he remembered.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But the one scene, like, when it actually, like, it announces it, like, I think that was kind of creepy. And it was like, that's why I think he kind of had a role in it as well. Because then he mocks the group later on with younger Stanley's head.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I just the suicide aspect of it.
Wasn't that also
not
in the
to
original?
my taste?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's part of the original story, but it's not. It's a little bit of glorification for something that I don't agree with. And like I said, that is really kind of my more personal take on that. To me, there's
Like
something
he- like
different
he-
than in a war film.
like he
when
did,
you-
like